Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 10 count on a special Wednesday at 7 p.m. I messed up the schedule this week by having some extracurricular activities tomorrow, so apologize and thank you all for tuning in on this fine Wednesday. We had one hell of a PLE Sunday, and also Justin and I had a nice fun podcast episode interview with Ricky Otazu, which was super fun. The first original owner of JCW, which turned into GCW. So if you subscribe to the BodySlamNet Patreon, you can get first exclusive look into that. Eventually, it will be free for listen and to watch. But if you want the, first crack at the interview, definitely tune in. It was awesome. It was fun. The man has stories upon stories. And Justin, I think we might get, I don't know, like 5, 10, 20 episodes with the man.
God. I mean, the way that interview went, you could tell that he could just write a novel on just shit in the wrestling realm that he has dealt with and has seen and been a part of. Indie wrestling is the wild, wild west, as you will find out if you have heard or watched the interview already. If you haven't, you will find out shortly. Tremendous interview. The man is just full of knowledge. It was if we didn't stop it, we'd probably still be talking to him right now, truthfully.
Yeah, I wanted to keep listening to his stories. I mean, we went an hour and a half almost, so maybe a little under that, and it flew by. I wanted to keep going. Justin wanted to keep going, but we know we have to, make it listenable to the folks, so you're not there listening to a whole movie. But maybe we can create a movie with Ricky in the near future with all his stories, because there's so much he has to offer from his experience in the business. Just the life lessons he learned and went through dealing with owning a promotion, especially one that how it blew up. And he even talked about, having consistent at times 10,000 people, watching and doing charity runs for his promotions too that were really successful. The dude is a freaking legend. I can't wait to talk to him again. Zach, happy National Banana Lovers Day. I wish I had a banana. I'm going to keep saying that. I tried to prepare myself. I looked like 10 minutes before. I did not have anything prepared for the national days that were today. So I'm going to remember. I'm getting there. But yeah, I'm just excited to keep doing interviews. I mean, that's my favorite part. Back in my Heroes and Brews days, I love doing interviews. I love, Justin, you're reaching out, being a hustler. We're getting some people. I think the Randy Howdy, I think the writing on the wall is for us to grind for a Matt Tremont. Both our interviewers or interviewees mention that man's name. So maybe we can, poke the bear a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny. With Matt Tremont, it's like kind of aligning in a way. So obviously we had Bear Bronson on the show, tremendous interview, tremendous person in general. He, whenever we put out content on social media, he's always there supporting, retweeting everything that we put out about him. And Matt Tremont gave us a follow. And then we have Ricky on, and Ricky brings up Matt Tremont out of the blue, like unprovoked, out of nowhere, just talking about Matt Tremont. So Matt, if you're listening, if you're watching, I might have to tag you in this. Come on the show,
please.
Let's make it happen. I feel like it's just bound to happen. So let's make it happen. That match, I mean, just this past weekend, I said it on Sunday before the match happened. There was 3 major shows. You had GCW Homecoming, you had NXT Heatwave, and you had AEW New Japan Forbidden Door. I said the match that I'm most looking forward to the whole weekend, Bear Bronson, Matt Tremont, and my God, did they deliver. It was perfection. Our guy Bear unfortunately took the L, but he walked away. He walked away and walked out of that match looking like a fucking legend. So props to those 2 guys for like laying it all on the line. And hey, Matt Tremont, we're ready for you.
I mean, the social media reaction to that match alone was amazing to both those men. and even especially Bear too. Like people are like, this man is encompassing, the death match. Like he came in and he's showing he belongs here, and he's grinding in the deathmatch arena, man. He said it on the podcast. He's posted on Instagram like this was Bear Summer of Violence, and I was hoping it would cap off with a championship around his waist, but that will be to come. It will. I guarantee that man's gonna have
guaranteed.
He deserves it, man. He definitely deserves it. I'm excited for him. I can't wait to see what Bear's fall of violence is gonna turn out to be. Maybe it'll be even more of a banger than his summer.
Fall of fatalities, because everyone that he gets in the ring with is dropping down.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. Yeah, just shout out to Bear. Unbelievable match. Matt Tremont, once again, we're waiting for you. We're ready for you whenever you're available. It's funny, you mentioned how I've been reaching out. So like, I feel so bad for the amount of wrestlers and promoters that I've just like jumped into their DMs, like not aggressively, very respectively, but I'm not going to mention names, some people that are like, yeah, I will definitely come on, but you have to reach out to so-and-so to get approved. And that's where I'm getting the hiccup. So hopefully we turn a stone here and we start just lining them up and knocking them down. That'd be, that's the dream. So hoping that, the fall of the 10 count pod and Bear goes straight upwards.
I love it. Let's go into Forbidden Door a little bit. Actually, like the aftermath of some wrestlers that we knew, we're going to put on a show, but ultimately take probably a decent leave of absence. I mean, first off, Will Ospreay, of course, had to jump off the cage. We knew that was happening. I mean, the dude left it all in the ring. The little love note that was annotated or read by his is a wife or girlfriend. I think his wife, right? I forget what they are, but Alex Windsor. It was awesome. It gave me the chills. The crowd loved it. The crowd was going crazy for him. You could see he was emotional because he knew like this is going to be some time. But the man, I was getting nervous for him, but he walked out. I mean, I guess he didn't. He got beat down by the Death Riders at the end pretty aggressively, but he's going to come back with a vengeance, and I can't wait for that. And I think, this is a time now for some other individuals in AEW to really step up, with Ospreay gone, with Swerve now, getting knee surgery done, or was it MCL surgery? He's going to be out for some time. So that's two huge shoes to fill. Those to me are the top two performers in that company. So guys, that locker room got to wake up, sniff those smelling salts, get pumped up, go balls to the walls. Like, this is the time. MJF came off the loss at Forbidden Door, so he's not going to be in the title picture right away. So I can't wait to see people step up, try and fill those shoes, because the option's there.
No, it's I mean, if there's ever a time, like, it kind of reminds me of like ruthless aggression, like, all right, we're looking for someone to step up. You have a rookie John Cena go out there with Kurt Angle, ruthless aggression, and that takes off. That's kind of what has to happen right now. You have Swerve gone now. He's on the shelf. Will, God knows how long he's out for. He's going to be on the shelf, like you said. MJF obviously still there. Hangman obviously still there. You still have big names. Don't get me wrong. You have Kenny. You have Takeshita. The names are there. But it's time for like someone like, just who's going to be that young stud that just pulls that ruthless aggression card and really just takes over AEW and gets the rocket put on his back, because it's time. If there's ever a time, it is now.
Yeah. And I get nervous with AEW too, because I feel like they have a lot of talent on the roster, but I feel like there really isn't too much depth for people that have that star power. And luckily we have, Edge and Christian coming back. It was weird that Brodito won the tag team titles, in my opinion, because I feel like the obvious option was either FTR or the Hurt Syndicate. And as we mentioned, Edge and you were right. I was wrong. Edge and Christian came out with a dub, but if they're going to go after FTR, it would have been nice for those titles to be on the line. Maybe that's because at the end of the day, Edge and Christian are going to come out on top over FTR, and they don't want them to have the titles, which to me would be a nice nostalgia act. We have the Hardys as the TNA Tag Champions. So I don't know. It's even in the women's division, like with Toni Storm, like who's next? This is my only like kind of gripe right now with AEW, because they put all their eggs in their top stars basket, but the developing on the underside kind of isn't there for me right now. I don't know how you feel, but I'm kind of bummed about the lack of development for their undercard and their mid card.
Yeah, you have the two women's champions right now. You have Mercedes and Toni, and they already fought at All In. So it's now you can't put them up against each other again. And we had mentioned that, Toni versus Athena. Athena's kind of still with that ROH. She's killing ROH. But now, yeah, who's next? Like, is it going to be a Chris Statlander that steps back up? Yep. I don't know. It's got to happen soon, though, because right now there's tiers, and the tiers are up here. And then I don't want to say like super down here, but there's a Mercedes and a Toni tier, and then the rest, really have to step up. You need challengers, because right now I don't believe that anyone can knock out Toni Storm.
No, and you would need to have someone ready to go with the rocket on their back, because you can't have Toni lose to someone who's just like mediocre. They did that in the past, and it didn't work out for them. It kind of, after Britt Baker, the women's division kind of lulled a little bit. And I think it really kind of took back up when Toni Storm really, took the helm of that women's division.
I mean, you said Britt Baker. We've been asking for her for months. I mean, this goes back to Court begging for her to come back. She was there. She was up there. If there's ever a time, they say that she's not asking for a release or whatnot. If there's ever a time to bring her back, do it at All Out.
Yep.
If she's not back at All Out, then I truthfully think she's in Guantanamo Bay, just serving her sentence and waiting for the release at that point. But then at that point, like we've gone into it, just release her. Like I don't like the whole holding just wrestlers hostage and wasting days and months of their career. But if there's ever a time, bring Britt Baker back. Let's do it.
I agree. And I want to talk about a little bit. Wardlow comes back, joins the Don Callis family. That family is just getting ridiculously, they're all jacked up. They're all big dudes. But the thing that frustrates me is, the TNT champion is in that group. So like all those guys, are they gonna like fight for the AEW championship against Hangman? Like to me, like Kyle Fletcher is, the next level for AEW, but he's the TNT champion, which is great. But if we need people to show out, like they're stacking the cards in the Don Callis family, and they're not going to feud against each other unless there's a break in the family, which it doesn't seem like that's happening. So who do they feud with for this TNT championship? Who, where do those members go after? Because you have the unified championship with Okada. You have the, TNT champion with Kyle Fletcher. So like they have two titles in this realm, and most of the studs are in that family. So to me, I feel like they're kind of putting themselves in a corner with this decision, especially bringing Wardlow into that family, because he could be a great competitor for Kyle, for Okada. So I don't know. It's weird that they keep stacking the Don Callis family to me when they can kind of like use some of these guys as faces.
Yeah, that family just keeps growing and growing, dude. Listen, Wardlow is also in that realm of like, all right, he's healthy. When the hell are we going to see him back? Am I happy we got him back? Absolutely. He was incredible. I fondly remember just him and MJF. I loved what they were doing back in the day. but did we really want him to return in the Don Callis family? Like you said, like he could have had a massive babyface run here. Could have. But now he's not gonna. So you're right. Do they get two guys to go after the tag titles and they just start trying to belt collect the whole Don Callis family? I don't know. Are they going to go after Hangman? I would assume so, right? I mean, now you have Takeshita, who now I believe he has a world championship match after winning the G1 for New Japan. So if he ends up winning the title in New Japan, then you have 3 titles. Then you could, I don't know, Wardlow and I don't know. There's a lot of mouths to feed in the Don Callis family. That's for damn sure. They need a Thanksgiving feast to keep all of them happy.
Yeah, when Thursday comes around, I hope they start pushing stories in the right direction, especially with Ospreay gone. Like the Death Riders, like what are they going to do now? They lost. They attacked, Ospreay, and that was it. They didn't attack anyone else. Maybe the Ops are still in there, for a little feud, but with AEW, I feel like there's a lot of questions still in the air about how to move forward.
Well, it is Wednesday, and you know what that means.
Oh, today's Wednesday. That's right.
Yeah. So we do have Dynamite tonight. So hopefully we get some of these answers that we're looking for. I know it's weird to record on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Usually Thursday nights are our gravy train. But I was able to use it's Wednesday night, so you know what that means. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, we'll see. I hope tonight leads into something, because there are a lot of questions like you had just brought up. There's a lot of questions in AEW right now. And I mean, I don't know if you wanted to get, this wasn't even on our plans, but were you able to listen to Jack Swagger, Jake Hager on Chris Van Vliet?
I did.
Do we dive into that for a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
What the hell, man? I mean, talk about a guy that just left it all out there to just say, screw Tony Khan. And
not just screw Tony Khan. It was every day, every hour, F you, Tony Khan. Which I understand from his perspective, right? Because Chris Jericho wanted him in the JSA, in the Inner Circle, and Tony Khan was kind of hesitant. And you can't, I get it. You want to be hesitant with him, fine. I think in that case, back when Tony first started the company, he was more of a mark, right? And he was probably still, feeling the crowd reaction that they had for WWE for him. Right. So he probably had those feelings, but you got to trust in Jericho. I mean, Jake Hager had an amazing part in both those factions, in my opinion. I in my eyes, back in WWE, was he a little bland in me? Yeah, I thought he was a little bland. But I feel like to be able to do the comedy portion of it, actually brought some life into his character. And I felt bad when he's like, I probably should have stayed in MMA instead of making the jump, which kind of sucks to hear. I feel bad for him when someone says that. But at least he got to get the limelight with Jericho. But I think Tony just always had a bad taste in his mouth for Jake, and it just never went away.
So how he brought up the whole locker room meeting after the Punk, even after that, you had Dax and Cash, they literally went on Twitter and showed screenshots of them texting Hager. Dude, it's not a great look, man. I mean, sure, everyone has their own opinions about everyone, about every boss that I've ever had. I'm sure my opinion differs than other employees. So sure, you're allowed to speak your opinion. Absolutely. That's what this country is about. Speak your opinion. But if you're going to also bring in stories, just make sure that you have it just dead straight, because he even said I think that, Dax and Cash were a part of it. And then they just instantly just went out and just shut him up. So I was like, oh no.
Yeah. I think he was probably just emotional in the moment because, in those interviews with Chris Van Vliet, he's just getting into, the fun stories, or, sometimes it kind of curves into those moments where, there is some some anger or, some passion of things that have happened. So I get that, he might not be thinking of all the facts. It was a long time ago. And, during that moment, there was a lot of, it was fast, heat of the moment, and, we spoke, with Ricky last night about that moment a little bit with Punk, and how that was handled. And I think there was just a lot of different takes on that night, especially with how like fast and reckless it was. So I don't know, man. I don't fault him. I think, yes, you have to go in when you speak and you're going on a platform like Chris Van Vliet, and it's going to be cut, and pieces of that interview going to be cut and shown to the world, because that's how it is nowadays with his interviews. You do have to be careful, but I don't think he cares. I think he just went in to air his grievances at some points because he was frustrated. He was, he felt neglected, which I get. Again, he mentioned it in the podcast. He felt very neglected. He went with ideas and they shot him down all the time, and he wasn't wanted from the beginning. So I do feel bad for him. I get he, probably made some mistakes by saying some things, but I do feel bad for him.
Let me ask you, I just want to quickly go back to the lights out steel cage match. How did you feel at the end of that match where Will Ospreay is getting absolutely destroyed by the Death Riders, and you just have the baby face is just on the outside, like acting like they can't do anything? Like, you had Kota Ibushi legitimately punching the cage with his fist, like trying, like, just climb. If you want to get in there, just climb.
I don't think that moment was needed, because we all know Will was going away after this match. If we didn't know and they hid the fact, I understand doing that moment to then take him off TV for a while. But by getting out in front of it and saying, this is going to be my last match for a while, I'm going to give it my all and leave it in the ring, they didn't need to beat him up. There was no point, especially with how sloppy that looked, with the faces on the outside not climbing, just punching the cage. I felt like they, the rest of the Death Riders could have like been pushing them or something, or using a kendo stick or steel chair to the cage to keep them out. But it just looked really weird and sloppy. It was like when Jeff Hardy is dancing on the ramp and his brother's getting beat down in the middle of the ring. It was kind of gave that same vibe. But the thing that just frustrated me was I don't think there was a point in that segment, because they went after his neck some more, right? But we already know he was getting that surgery. I think it was a waste of a moment. I think they tried to do that, that fake WWE. They put up the trademark, and then, it went away because Ospreay's getting beat down. I think they tried to make a shock value moment that wasn't going to be shock value, because we all knew the trajectory of where Will was. They should have kept that close to them, let Will get beat up, shock value, and then be like, oh, he's out for an indefinite period of time because of his neck. So that's my opinion.
It's a great opinion. I mean, I think you just hit it on the head.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what Will was doing during the match. Like you said, we all knew what was happening going into this match. He mentioned it. He brought it up. So like you said, like the whole writing off with the DDTs and everything, I think it was just overkill.
And I thought it was like kind of a little reckless too, because I get Moxley's he's going to take care of Ospreay. But when you're bringing the chair in and stuff, that's just an element where you don't really need to take those risks at that point. The man already put the risks in the match, jumping off the cage, doing what he did. Like, we all knew he was going to go full force. And I don't know if your over-under hit or not, because you said 2.5. And technically, Ospreay and also Darby and
Kid.
Yeah, Gabe Kidd. They both went off at the same
2.5.
time.
So that's a push.
That's a 3. That's a 3 right there.
Oh, that is a 3. That is a 3. Yeah, so it hits. Yeah, it hits.
Because I was gonna say, like, hey, I hit that over, I guess.
That hits.
But yeah, he took enough risk in that match for him to go away. He got the standing ovation. The crowd was going nuts for him. It just wasn't necessary.
Correct. I'm with you on that. Completely with you.
Let's talk about Blake Monroe. Let's switch over to NXT real quick. Gets the big win over Jordan Grace on Sunday to then take a nice L to Kalani Jordan. Jordan Grace getting one up on her, locking the back door. She couldn't escape. What do you think of that? do you think it's okay that Blake took that loss the way it happened on NXT, or do you think she still should have, come out on top? Because I feel like they're kind of protecting her in the match realm for the time being, and then she had that big win against Jordan, but then ultimately to get her, I think, her first loss against Kalani Jordan. I don't know if I really like that, so I want to get your opinion on that.
Well, I don't know if this counts, but didn't like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, Jordan chased her again and she got counted out?
That's right.
So,
That's
against
right.
Kalani. So
she did lose.
So technically she's lost twice to Kalani, but this
Yeah.
is the first time she got pinned in NXT.
Yes. Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of Blake's character, I guess, right now. It's so tough for some people to just realize that, like, this is not technically the same person that we saw in AEW, which is, it's tough to decipher. Like, obviously, like, oh, it's the same person, but it's a different character. Blake Monroe, Mariah May. Mariah May was a hardcore badass that was licking blood and crap. Now, we have Blake Monroe, who is afraid of Jordan Grace, although she beat her. I don't know. I'm okay with it, but I'm just more shocked that they're going to keep this rivalry going, because I'm ready for Jordan to go up to the main roster, but clearly we're not there yet. So now, is this going to put is Jordan now going to win is the next match going to be at No Mercy, where now Jordan gets one up on Blake, and now is it a best of 3? I don't know. I was ready for Blake to challenge for, I mean, I guess you can't do heel versus heel, but I'm ready to see Blake as NXT Women's Champion. So now that we're getting Jordan and Blake again, it's kind of, I don't know, it's just pushing it off.
Yeah. And I kind of had the same mindset. I thought we're going to get Jordan kind of getting pushed over to the main roster at this point. And I know that roster's stacked. We talk about it every week, but maybe they do want to keep Jordan around a little bit longer on NXT. Maybe they do want to have a 3-match program with Jordan and Blake Monroe. I wouldn't hate that. I think it would be fun. I think it would hold over until we see, how the NXT Championship. RX Hugo says ESPN Plus with thumbs down. Yeah, you can say that again. I don't got cable, so I gotta either subscribe to that shit or illegally stream. Sorry, I mean, not illegally stream some PLEs. But yeah, I'm very excited though for the women's division. We had a huge triple threat. We had Kalani Jordan, Lola Vice, Jada Parker. Lola Vice, you were right again. The predictions were rolling for you, Justin, except we are terrible. Terrible at the TNA Knockouts Championship, and terrible with JC Jane predictions. And like I said on my Twitter, it might be both. But it was very exciting to see that match play out. Lola got the dub, so she should be looking for a JC Jane at No Mercy. And we have Jada and possibly Lash Legend starting a feud, which I'm very, very excited for. And we also had, again, Kalani got the dub over Blake Monroe. So those 3 women that were in that match, they're still propping them up, which I'm very excited for. I was afraid that the 2 losers of that triple threat might get, forgotten about a tiny bit, or maybe pushed backwards a little bit, but it doesn't seem that way, because Lash Legend is very over as well. She just had that feud with Nia, even though she did lose, which, I mean, I felt like that was going to happen anyway. Nia is just a big name, huge champion on SmackDown, so I feel like that was going to be a loss for her. And then Kalani Jordan, like you said, 2 wins over Blake Monroe, so I'm excited to see their paths forward. Would it be cool to see Lola Vice win against JC Jane? 100%. But if I make that prediction, JC Jane's going to retain. So I got to watch my mouth in whatever that prediction is and try and push it the way I want it to go.
I was about to say, I also think we predicted that JC Jane's going to lose the NXT Women's Championship before she loses the TNA Women's Championship. So yeah, we can't go near it. I just retire at predicting any sort of JC Jane championship matches, at least for the time being. Just, I'm going to let whatever happens, and I'm just going to be there and enjoy the ride.
I was very shocked that the title changed hand at Heatwave. I know the cards were stacked against JC. I had a feeling that when the rest of Fatal Influence got ejected, that maybe it wouldn't go her way, but maybe she'd like overcome something. But the thing I laughed at was the Ash by Elegance team, ripped I forget if it was Masha or JC out of the ring for the pin.
JC, I believe. No, was it Masha?
I think it was it might have been Masha. But the thing that made me laugh was they didn't get kicked out. The ref was just like, yeah, that's cool. Sure, just rip the person on the pin off. No big deal. I just, I threw Fatal Influence out for a punch, but yeah, we'll keep you on for ripping someone off a pin. To me, that's the thing. Little things that bother me sometimes is like the discrepancies that the refs kind of pull, but it happens. It's professional wrestling. There's no rhyme or reason sometimes for things to happen, but I really thought JC was going to come out on top, or honestly, Masha. I really thought like the full circle moment would have been Masha taking it back, but now we have Ash by Elegance and her whole team strapped with championships in TNA.
Yeah, the one thing with Masha is I believe she's the JC. I think she's the Juggalo champion right now. She's like a world champion for the Juggalos. So I don't know if that was going to interfere with anything in TNA, but yeah, Ash by Elegance. She's a great worker. She is, and she's one of those people that we had mentioned when you leave WWE. There's people that really go to the next level and reinvent themselves. And I believe she is one of them. So props to her. Great for her. Maybe you bring up the ref, maybe Carlos Silva slipped the referee $500 to not let them get kicked out or something, just to bring the gold back to TNA. But yeah, no, it is what it is. Am I shocked that did not change hands at Bound for Glory? A little bit. But we also need to see NXT talent lose on a WWE PLE to TNA superstars. So I get it and I understand, because every time we're watching an NXT PLE, we're seeing the WWE superstar go over, right? We've seen Joe Hendry lose multiple times. We've seen Santana lose multiple times. And then we went to a show. We're like, all right, time for TNA to win it back. No, not so much. TNA pay-per-view, biggest one of the year, and you have NXT superstars holding out strong. So in a way, it was time for revenge. It was time for TNA to get one back up on NXT. So I get it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I was holding hope for a kind of like we spoke about in the past, the 2001 Survivor Series, WWE versus the Invasion, the Alliance Invasion angle. I would have loved a pay-per-view or PLE of TNA versus NXT, and maybe trade some titles a little bit back and forth and have them all like realigned to their their spots, or maybe not fully when that PLE ended. So that's what I was kind of hoping would happen, but my dreams are probably getting diminished for that, which is fine. And I agree that there does need to be some weight carried back over to TNA winning on WWE PLE. And you speak of Joe Hendry, the man showed up in the UK, I think, fighting The Miz. The dude just shows up everywhere now.
Yeah, so that is funny. And I actually brought it up on X earlier because it jotted my memory. I believe when the partnership had first started between TNA and WWE, Joe Hendry was obviously the world champion of TNA. He had made the Royal Rumble appearance. I believe there were rumors out there that's like WWE wanted him to do like an on-air feud with The Miz, but I don't think TNA was comfortable with their champion at the time doing that, because who knows, you can't have him lose. But now it's funny how right now through house shows, obviously over in Europe where Joe Hendry's from, they're having him feud with The Miz. So I don't know if this is kind of like just getting to know each other for something in the future, which I'd love to see on Raw or SmackDown. So I don't know. It is funny though how months and months ago, people were saying how TNA nixed a idea of Joe Hendry and The Miz feuding.
I would love that. I hope it is. I hope they are gearing up for the future for him to, kind of get his, his taste buds wet a little bit with WWE talent that they see him feuding with in the future. I think that would be awesome. I do want to see him win back the TNA World Championship. I thought he was a great, a great person to have, be the face of that flagship. Mike Santana, I think, is going to be the next one, which I don't disagree with. The man is, the workhorse in TNA right now. But Joe Hendry just has that worldwide renown that everyone goes crazy when they hear his music. And you never know when you're going to hear his music. And when you do, you're just like pumped up. And I would love to see him hold that TNA World Championship again, because I'm not sure how long his contract is for TNA. But hey, if the dude can put on programs in WWE, like, great. I don't see him. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong, but I don't see him ever holding like the WWE or World Heavyweight Championship unless he were to win Money in the Bank. I think that WWE kind of like understands his star power that he has, that he created himself, but it's not as big as the stars that are in WWE.
Yeah, I don't know if it was ever announced how much longer Joe Hendry has on his TNA contract, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the next title that Joe Hendry wins will be a WWE championship, and he will be under WWE contract. I don't think he's gonna, obviously I agree with you. Santana is going to be the next TNA World Heavyweight Champion, rightfully so. I just don't think they're going to put another title on Joe Hendry when he's so invested in, obviously we know where he's going to go after his TNA contract is up. It's like Jordan Grace. Like, it's like the worst kept secret of all time is like, once that contract's up, you know where he's signing. So I mean, he's on house shows. He's on WWE live events right now against main roster superstars for the WWE. If that is not a signal in anyone's eyes that this guy, once that contract's up, he's jumping right to WWE, then I have land to sell you in, I don't even know where, but I have property to sell you somewhere. I don't know.
Do you think if WWE ends up purchasing TNA, do you think that kind of opens the floodgates a bit now, if that were to happen? Because then it doesn't matter how long Joe Hendry's contract is in TNA. Hey, we're going to, boost them up over to Raw. Oh, we're going to boost them over to SmackDown. We'll send some people your way that might need some, extra development, but we're going to take Joe Hendry. I could see that happening. I mean, the way that WWE has kind of control of the sale of TNA, to me, is insane, but I guess that's the contract they have. But I think at the end of the day, WWE is going to buy them.
I don't even think you and I spoke about that on the podcast. I mean, we spoke about it in our private chat, but I don't think we even spoke about like the news coming out that if TNA sells, like WWE has the first like right of refusal. Like, that's insane. Like, obviously that's a no-brainer deal for WWE. Like, hell yeah. Like, they pretty much, I mean, they don't, but you can kind of see where it's going. And sure, the rub that TNA is getting by being in this partnership with WWE, you can't deny that it's not helping them. It is absolutely helping them. But in the back of WWE's head, they're like, all right, well, we're helping ourselves, because in a year or two, well, we're going to own them. So I don't know. The end game for WWE is just to hurt AEW at all costs. Let's call a spade a spade. So I mean, if WWE does purchase TNA, which I think it is in the realm of possibilities, so then who cares? I mean, Steven Chambers in the YouTube chat saying, yep, WWE will buy TNA by the end of 2026. And then if TNA goes to CW on Wednesdays competing against Dynamite, I mean, they came out and said like with a TV deal, they're okay moving to Wednesdays and going up against Dynamite. That is as blatant of hey, we have one opponent and one opponent only, and we're gonna go head to head against you. We saw NXT back in the day, couldn't get it done. Obviously, that was when it was the rebrand and everything. Now here we go. Let's bring in TNA, establish superstars, and let's show you what we got. Yeah, the TV deal that TNA ends up announcing, I hope, I'm not, I don't know anything, but I'm hoping that they announce a TV deal at Bound for Glory. If it's on the CW or A&E where it's obvious WWE connections, then yeah, at that point I can almost consider TNA being another brand of TKO and WWE.
Yeah, and if that happens and we have TNA on Wednesday nights, why not just fill Thursday? Why not have Monday to Friday? Just content, brand, and then PLEs right on the weekend. And if that were to happen, I guarantee it'd be PLEs every weekend because the TNA PLEs aren't going to then combat against what NXT and Raw and SmackDown are going to do for their PLEs. That's going to be wrestling. If that happens, is going to be insane with the amount of content, with the amount of days that there already is, right? It already is insane. But if WWE can, coordinate the schedule between Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TNA, every Saturday and Sunday is going to be a PLE. Every single one.
I mean, this is just the world that we live in now, dude. I mean, it's insane. It's absolute insanity. And just the streaming, we got into the streaming platforms. You need this, that. It's insanity. It's just absolutely nuts.
And then Steven said if TK was smart, he'd put ROH on Access TV. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can take it if you want.
Yeah. Well, again, just from reading things on the internet, I believe TK put the ROH World Championship on Chris Jericho for an extended period of time because they were trying to get ROH a TV deal. What happened? Now that ROH former champion is about to jump ship to WWE again. That's where we're headed. I mean, Chris Jericho is teasing it. He just posted a photo of him on a private jet saying contemplating or whatever like that. It's the worst kept secret. His contract's at the ends up at the end of the year. What major pay-per-view is in the beginning of 2026? Hello. Royal Rumble, Chris Jericho, done. See ya. Tony Khan, what did making Chris Jericho your ROH champion for that extended period of time do for you? Nothing.
Well, the problem is with that AEW has their own problems with, booking and getting over and getting fans in seats at points. They're doing better. They're doing a little bit better now, especially with watching, and watches on TV. Like, they're not going to touch WWE. WWE has the power to turn eyes on products. AEW doesn't. AEW has to focus on getting more eyes and more people in the door than they do right now. Granted, they did just break, the record at the O2. I think it was 18,000 or something. But that's, international. When you're in home base, where you're in the US and that's where you're constantly having shows, that's where the problem lies, because US fans get comfortable and US fans like, oh, maybe I'll sit this one out. Maybe I'll wait for the next time Dynamite rolls around, or I kind of want to save my money for Raw when that comes around. Maybe, I'll just watch Dynamite from my home. So that's the problem. I think that even though they, have ROH, I don't think they have the ability to really focus on pushing it because they need to push their main brand first. WWE doesn't need to push their main brand. It's there. It's the Mecca. It's the top. It's the cream of the crop. So they can then focus on NXT. They can focus on TNA. And people speak about it all the time. NXT has been very enjoyable, almost more enjoyable, maybe is more enjoyable than the main roster at times. I mean, if you look at their PLE at Heatwave on Sunday, I loved it. It was crafted beautifully. The matches were awesome. The feuds were great. I mean, the ending was chef's kiss to me Obafemi just tossing Javon Evans. Javon Evans was bouncy. He bounced right through that table like it was nothing. That was insane. I mean, it just shows. And then Ricky Saints comes out and goes, eye to eye with Obafemi, which, Ricky, I'm sorry, but you got to get that ass beat real quick by Oba. That man, you don't want to mess with him. He's the ruler for a reason, and he ain't, lying down for no one. But just even that women's division, that card was mostly women on that card, and it was awesome. Like, they talk about the women's division NXT, and that's the greatest women's division of all time. But the main roster women's division is also, I think, there or better. I mean, it's hard. They both have their strengths, but the NXT roster and NXT shows are just on another level because WWE can focus on that and can focus on propping TNA up, and it's showing. So that's my only, gripe with Tony not being able to prop ROH, because he needs to focus on propping up his own shit.
And you're right. But another thing that WWE has in their back pocket that we're seeing right now is if they do need help down in NXT, you send one of their stars from the main roster down there. Look what Chelsea Green and the Secret Hervis are doing with Ethan Page right now. It's incredible. Like, it's probably the most over thing I've seen in NXT, and it just happened like 3 weeks ago. And shout out to Chelsea, by the way. What a worker, going from like Florida to the UK, back to NXT, back to the UK. Like, what a legend. So shout out to her and the Secret Hervis. The Secret Hervis has her back, because, when you're her, you got to have, there's people that are looking for you, and just the security that they give her is just impeccable. But, now you have team.
Look at Steve in the chat. He's singing it.
Oh, Canada.
Canada.
It literally, like, this picked up in less than 3 weeks. And now it's like something that I can't stop watching. I want to see more of Ethan Page and Chelsea Green on my television every single Tuesday night. And Chelsea's not even an NXT superstar anymore. That's the thing that WWE has that they can just do. Like, Nia Jax, boom, NXT, shock factor. Like, it's unmatched. It truly is. It's unmatched.
Yeah, Ethan Page and Chelsea Green as a team is the greatest idea that's ever surfaced in NXT. I love it. I can watch it all the time. The amount of TikToks and social media posts they create, and I can watch them over and over and over again because they're funny as hell. Like, those are two masterminds just having fun, destroying U.S. Olympians, gloating about it, throwing the Canadian flag over them. Like, it's so well done, and I'm excited to see that feud expand more. And obviously, that's going to lead to probably Ethan Page defending the North American Championship against Davion Heights. And Tyra Steele, she's getting better, and I think the perfect person to help elevate her is Chelsea Green.
Yeah, but it's at this point where, like, I don't want to see Ethan lose that title.
I don't either.
Ever. He's just on another level, and just adding Chelsea to the mix. It's like, shit. I don't ever want to see them lose. Steven in the chat. What's next? El Grande Americano versus Ethan Page. Just kidding.
Which one?
Yeah, exactly. Which El Grande Americano are we talking about here? But yeah, like, just out of nowhere, NXT, boom, has like this hottest little Canadian faction that I've ever seen in my life that I just can't get enough of. And it just happened in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
This is why Chelsea should still be the United States champion, man. I mean, and the thing is, like, Julia's awesome, but like, they're not putting the rocket on like they are, but they aren't. Mm-hmm. The U.S. Championship was very entertaining with Chelsea as their first and only champ. And I love Zelina Vega, and I think she deserved a championship like that, but not yet. I feel like Chelsea should have really, flourished this championship out more. I don't think it was her time to lose it. Look at the reaction that Chelsea got at Heatwave. The Chelsea chants, the Secret Hervis chants, the Canada chants. The USA crowd was chanting Canada, Canada. Like, That's how over she is. Ethan had to sidebar and try and talk trash to the crowd because the American team, who were the faces, were getting booed out the arena the entire time, and it didn't work. And that's how over Chelsea is. So she, in my eyes, man, she should have never dropped that championship. And it would be awesome with her as the U.S. champion and Ethan as the North American champion facing the U.S. Olympians. To me, that wrote itself. But unfortunately, that's not what's happening. We are still getting awesome feud with Chelsea and Ethan. So, I mean, I can't wait to see next week.
No, I can't wait either. I'm really hoping that another title is in Chelsea Green's future, because just the work that her and the Secret Hervers are doing. And Ethan Page, it's just whatever she touches just turns into goddamn gold. We've said it multiple times. But with that said, we are coming up to the end of the podcast. Ty, look, we have the Quick Count shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees. This has been an ongoing battle for quite some time now. So we have the official Quick Count logo tee. We have the official 10 count logo tee live on ProWrestlingTees.com. If you want to support the show, please go purchase some merch. That would be awesome. You know, I'm not going to tell you not to. It looks great. I have one. My family members have some. Ty is about to have some. So it's a great shirt. But go get that on ProWrestlingTees.com. Always subscribe to the Body Slam Patreon for exclusive breaking news, interviews, and podcasts and more. Our podcast right now with Ricky Otazu is live. If you are a Patreon subscriber, hour and a half interview with Ricky, just like you said, Ty, in the beginning of the show, breaking down the history of JCW and just all these stories that we were told that no one knows about. Just what an incredible interview. Can't wait to have him on again, like you said. But thank you all, 215 of you, for tuning in on this Wednesday night edition of the 10 Count Podcast. Let's ring that bell, because this podcast is over. Please follow Body Slam on all social media platforms at bodyslam.net. Please go give us a follow at the 10 Count Pod on all socials. Still grinding for that 100 subscriber mark on YouTube. Hopefully we can get there in the near future. I am really hoping so. But until then, we will see you all on Sunday morning-ish, afternoon-ish, for the Quick Count. Until then, it's Ty at TLP_maximum on X. I am Justin at JStar02 on X, and we will see you all on Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend, and it's Labor Day weekend, so let's have some fun. Until then, we're out.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.